Welcome to Maths with Mr. S. In this video we're going to solve number and practical problems that involve all of the above, and in particular rounding. So problem solving with rounding. So what have we got? Rounded to the nearest 100, I am 45,300. Rounded to the nearest 10,000, I am 50,000. What is the biggest and smallest number I could be? So this seems like a very tricky question, but you can make it a lot easier for yourself. So what you're going to do is work out what the biggest and smallest number for this could be, the biggest and smallest number for this could be, and then see which one fits as the biggest and smallest answer. You will have written the two answers. So let's do the smallest number it could be. So what could this number be, rounded to the nearest 100, the smallest number? Well, I can go down. It needs to round to 300. So I could have 45,000, and it could be a 200, as long as the number beside it is a 5 or above, because then it would round to 300. So the smallest number I could have is 45,250, because as soon as this 5 turns into a 4, it would round off to 200. So this is the smallest number it could be, just for this first statement. Now the biggest number it could be is going to be above 45,300. It'll be 45,300, and as soon as I go to 50 or 5 before the hundreds, it'll mean it'll round up to 400. So it needs to be 49. So I've worked out the smallest number for this statement and the biggest number for this statement that it could be if it's rounded to the nearest 100. Now let's do the same for the next number, rounded to the nearest 10,000. This will be 50,000. So we can go a little bit less, and then we can see what it would be. So it would actually be 45,000. Because as soon as it goes to 44,000, it would round to 40,000. So this is the smallest that this could be for this statement. And the biggest it could be would be 54,999. Because the 4 means that this still rounds off. As soon as this becomes a 5, then we have a problem. So now we have written the 4 numbers. The answers for the biggest and smallest for both statements will be here. So the smallest number it can be has to be this one, because if I use this one to round to the nearest 100, it would be 45,000, which isn't going to work for this. So the smallest one, tick. Now the biggest one, if I round this to the nearest 100, it'll be 55,000, which is far too much for this one. So the biggest one needs to be this one. Sometimes it'll be one from each, but if you write the smallest number it could be for this statement, the biggest number it could be, and do the same for the other one, then you will be able to find out your two answers. So my answers for the biggest is 45,349. And then the smallest it could be would be 45,250. And that would work for the first and the second statement. And all you've done is put the smallest and biggest for both of the statements. Let's do another example. Rounded to the nearest 1,000, I am 173,000. Rounded to the nearest 100,000, I am 200,000. Well, let's do again the biggest and smallest. I'll do the smallest first, and then the biggest, and then see which of the two answers I'm going to use. So nearest 1,000, so I would have 172,500, because as soon as it goes to a 4, then that means it would round off to 172,000. So the biggest it could be 173,000. I can't put 500 here because that would round up, so it needs to be 499. So I've got the smallest and biggest for this statement. Now smallest and biggest for this one, nearest 100,000, I could have 150,000, because this 5 will make this round up, but as long as this goes to a 4, it would round down to 100,000. So this is the smallest for this one. Now the biggest would be 249,000, because this 4 still rounds off to make it 200,000, 999. So we've got to figure out which of these two answers is going to work for the smallest. So the smallest, if you think this rounded to the nearest 1,000 is going to be 150,000, that's not going to work. So it needs to be this top statement. And then if we round this one to the nearest 1,000, it's going to be 250,000. Well, that's not going to work either. So it needs to be this top one here. So it needs to work for both statements. So I'm going to put in my answers of the smallest of 172,500 and the biggest 173,499. So just find the biggest and smallest that these could potentially be, and then pick the two answers that work for both statements. Sometimes it's the two at the top, sometimes it's one from each, sometimes it's the two at the bottom, but it just depends which one works for both statements. Now this next question, look at the numbers below and write true or false to each statement. So it says all four numbers will round to, what is this number? Put in my sets of 3, 4,800,000 when rounded to the nearest 100,000. Well, let's look. All four numbers round to 4,800,000. So where is the 100,000s here? So I'm going to put my commas in because it makes it much easier to read these numbers. So let's look at the first one. So 4,800,000. Well, the 7 is in the 100,000. The 8 is before, so this would round to 4,800,000. We've got the 7 in the 100,000, 5 before. It would round up. Yep, that would work as well. We have the 7, and then we've got the 6 before. It would round up, so that would round up to 4,800,000. And then this one, we've got the 7 in the 100,000, it's 9 before. It will round up. Yep, that'll round up to 4,800,000. So all four numbers will rounded to the nearest 100,000. We'll make that. Yes, they will. So it'll be a true. Only one number rounds to 4,786,000 when rounded to the nearest 1,000. So we've got to find where the thousands are. I'll use a different color. So 5. If I round this to the nearest 1,000, that'll round off, so it won't be a 6. So that one doesn't work. Then let's look here. This is a 5 again. Look at this one. It will round off, so that one's not going to work. It won't become 6,000. The 5, okay, well, this will round up, so this becomes 6,000. But it's got an 8 here, so it'll be 4,766,000. So that's not going to work either. And then we have got this one. Thousands, yes, this rounds up, but it'll be 4,796,000. So it's a little bit off there. So it says only one. Well, that's going to be false because none of them will round to this number. Now we've got rounded to the nearest 10. What is it? We have got 4,785,830. So let's have a look and see which ones potentially. It says two numbers. So different color. The 10s is here, and this will round off. So it'll be 4,785,230. 4,785,830. So that one doesn't work. Let's see. 10s, this will round up and it will become 40. So that one's not going to work. And then we have got this one. This will round up the 10s. So that's going to be 40. So it needs to be 30. So that's not going to work. And then this one, we've got this, and this is 30. Okay, so this could potentially work. So we've got 4,795,830. 4,785,000. So that's not going to work either. So it says two of the numbers. Well, that is going to be false as well. So it's working through and just understanding what the numbers round to, and then if the statements are true or false. Then the last example question, what is the answer to the calculation above when both numbers are rounded to the nearest 100? Well, let's just round both the numbers to the nearest 100, write them out, and then add them together. So what are these numbers? This is 4,542,976. We've got 2,359,786. So let's round them both to the nearest 100. and then add them up. Where's the hundreds? 900 to 7 before, which means it rounds up, which means the 900 becomes an extra 1,000. So it'll be 4,543,000. Then we look at the hundreds, which is 700. Number before means it will round up. So I will have 2,359,000, and the 700 rounds up to become an 800. And then simply add the two together. Very easy column addition. So 8, and then I've got 3 plus 9 is my 12. 5 plus 1 plus 4 is 10. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, and then my 6. So 6,902,800 to the nearest 100. Let's do the same again. What is the answer to the calculation above when both numbers are rounded to the nearest 1,000? Okay, different number, but we will just round it to the nearest 1,000 this time. Find the thousands. Look at the one before. So this will round up. So it'll be 4,543,000, and everything after becomes a 0. Thousands. This will round up again. So it'll be 2,360,000, because this 9,000, add 1,000 to it, becomes an extra 10,000. So 360,000. And then add them up. 0, 0, 0. And then we've got our 3. And then 10. And then 8 and 1 is 9. And then 7. So 7,903,000. Then the final one. What is the answer to the calculation above when both numbers are rounded to the nearest? Let's check what this number is. 100,000. Well, where's the 100,000s? There's the 100,000s. There's the 100,000s. So the 4 will mean that the 5 rounds off. So it'll be 4,500,000. Now the 5 will mean the 3 will round up. So it's 2,400,000. Simply add them together. Lots of zeros, which makes it nice and easy. It seems quite hard, this, but it's actually very straightforward if your rounding is solid. And you get your answer of 6,900,000. Thank you for watching, and don't forget the free worksheet and answers in the description, or go to www.mathswithmrs.com.